Am I the asshole for not cleaning the shower drain cover my roommate installed since I have short hair? I, 22 male, am originally from the Middle East, and I live with my roommate, 21 female, who is English. She has really long hair and sheds everywhere while I have short hair. We used to have a problem with the shower getting clogged with hair, and I kept having to ask her to clean it, which she did, but she would complain about finding poop in it as she picked out the hair. Where I grew up, it is considered unclean to use toilet paper, and toilets have a handheld mini shower we call a shatafa and use to spray clean our bums. I am not religious, and this is not a religious thing. I just find the thought of smearing poop around to clean it disgusting, as some of it probably adheres to the skin. So after I poop, I clean up in the shower. The only reason poop got stuck in the drain, though, is because her hair had clogged it there. Otherwise, it would have gone through. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for not supporting my dad and my friend's new relationship? I cannot believe I actually have to post something in here, but I think I need a bit of clarity for my current situation because I really don't have anyone else in real life to talk to it about. I am 21 female and attend college about 6 hours away from my hometown. Unfortunately, my mom passed away at a young age, and my dad, 48 male, has been a single father to me for the past 8 years. My dad hasn't dated anyone seriously throughout the years, and he seemed to constantly indicate that all he wanted to focus on was being there for me. I have always encouraged him to put himself back out there, and when I left for school, I encouraged this even more, as he would be an empty nester. Since my freshman year of high school, I've had a really close friend, 21 female, that has always been there for me, and I've spent a lot of time with. She attends a more local college that is only about 20 minutes away from my hometown. This all started this past spring break, March, when I went home and noticed that my dad was texting someone fairly regularly. I also saw the name that was texting him once, and I did not recognize it, but it was a woman's name. This is not common for him, so I figured he may be finally sparking up his love life after all these years. I did not say anything about it because I didn't want to make him feel weird or uncomfortable about getting back out there. He seemed happy, and I was happy on the inside as well for him. I said my goodbyes and went back to school. A few weeks later, I just so happened to be looking at my Find My Friends when I noticed that my friend was at my house. I thought this was strange since she doesn't live necessarily close by. It will sound naive at this point, but I honestly did not think that much of it. About a week went by and I decided to come home one day early for Easter in April because I just had a feeling that something was strange and to try and catch my dad off guard a bit. Everything was normal and he was very happy to see me. I was planning on seeing my friend the next day for lunch. My dad and I spent the day together and then started watching a movie. Then it happened. I saw an incoming text on my dad's phone, and it was from my friend. This was all I needed to see to place the last piece of the puzzle together. My dad was going out with my friend. I was feeling pretty sick the next day, a little bit of faking to avoid the situation, and I also just felt a bit uneasy about it all. I felt like a layer of trust was broken, and the other external details, such as their age gap and the already existing dynamic, made me cringe up a bit as well. After 2 days at home, I took the next train back to school. I told my dad that I really had to ace an exam coming up, so I had to get back. I needed to leave the situation and think. After thinking, I came to the conclusion that I am not okay with this relationship. I did not want my individual relationships that I had with each blended into one. I thought it was a bit gross, and above all, the fact that they knew they had to be sneaky validates my feelings that they should know better. I waited until finals were finally over a few weeks ago and finally called my dad and told him that I know and what my thoughts are. He sounded very upset on the phone, sad, not at all angry, and told me that he understood and wanted to talk about it the next day so he could think. I have no clue what he was telling my friend, but I did not have any contact with her about this throughout these initial calls. The next day, my dad and I talked. He was very apologetic and understanding of why I was upset, but eventually came down and said that he would not stop seeing my friend. He said that they had been seeing each other since the end of last summer, and have become attached to one another, and he was not ready to forfeit, quote, his first real connection that he has felt in so many years. I held my ground and told him that I will not be seeing him or hanging out with him when I returned home for summer break until he ends this. It has been 2 weeks at home with basically no interaction with him or my friend, aside from a text from my friend every other day requesting to talk in person or on the phone about it. I did not respond to her texts or calls. Tonight, it came to a head. I returned home from dinner with a friend to find my dad and my friend awaiting me in my house. This was the most unpleasant experience I have ever had with my father. It ended with him crying and him saying that I should understand because I know how hard it has been for him. He also pointed out that I've been deeply encouraging him to put himself back out there, so I have to have some sort of sympathy with him. After about 15 minutes of yelling, tears, and overall awkwardness, I stormed out and drove to another friend's house to stay for the night. I am too embarrassed to tell the friend I am staying with the details / talk about why I left home or this relationship. So I have sat here for the past few hours and wrestled in my mind whether I'm being too hard on them or if I am in the right. Am I the asshole here for not supporting the relationship or even tolerating it? Just a note, I have talked about zero details yet with my friend or dad about why they started going out or etc. I just know that it's been happening. I'm sorry for how long this is, but I am very confused and don't know what to think or feel. So update, before going into this, I do want to address something. I want to reiterate, I said this in one of the comments on my last post, that my friend and my dad did not, all caps, have any sort of relationship / contact beyond waving hi and bye while I was in high school. I appreciate that people are looking out for me and encouraged me to consider that there was maybe something going on then, but I know that this was not the case. This is definitely not a grooming a minor that he knew situation, which hopefully is a relief to many of you that were concerned about that. The conversation I had with my dad this morning confirmed this as well. So after reading a few of the comments this morning and cooling down a bit, I decided to just go home and visit my dad to try to have a conversation about it all. We have had way too good of a relationship to not just hear each other's perspectives. I walked in at 8 when he is always drinking his coffee and watching the morning news. As soon as I opened the door, he looked at me and he looked like he had not slept. About 10 seconds after I walked in with silence, he started crying pretty intensely. My dad is usually not emotional, and throughout the past 24 hours, I have seen him cry more than I have the rest of my life. He basically stopped me from saying anything and just said that he wanted to explain himself and the situation. Last summer, my dad was at the gym when he ran into my friend. They waved hi to each other, and he approached her because he wanted to ask if I had told her anything about my internship I had in another city for the summer. They talked briefly, and then a month later, they saw each other again at the gym. This time, she asked him if he'd want to grab a coffee, and he agreed because he knew we were good friends. He swears that he had zero romantic intention going into this. Basically, he said that they just hit it off and had a good time. It did not become mutually romantic until about a month later when they decided to get dinner. Once this all happened, my dad told her that he needed to tell me about it before moving forward. But my friend did not want to tell me yet because she was not sure how serious they would eventually be, and there was no point in making me feel uncomfortable for nothing. Not true. Unfortunately, this way of thinking just continually progressed until it reached the point of now, nearly 9 months later. He repeatedly said that he wanted to and should have told me from the second they even met for coffee. Now the awkward part. I will admit, the part that was actually making me feel the most uncomfortable was thinking about their sexual relationship, so I knew I had to be straightforward. I asked him how long they had been intimate. Shockingly, he responded that he had not had sex with her yet. He said that they had done other stuff, and I stopped him from going into detail about it because we did not need to share that stuff with each other. When I asked him why he has not had sex, he revealed that he has not had sex since he had become a widower. He will not do it until he knows that I would approve of the person he is with. He then revealed that he had gone on a few dates without me knowing for the past 8 years, but did not think any of them were special enough to bring around. Not having sex with my friend even caused them to have a break last fall because my friend was upset that he wouldn't do it with her. but she eventually came around to accepting it. Hearing this really saved the image I have of my dad as a polite, respectful, and mild-mannered man. I had said in a few comments on the last post that this was all very uncharacteristic of him, and this information calmed a few of my nerves about the situation. Then the apologies began. He said he was nervous and panicked when I brought up that I knew about it, and he lashed out. He said he was trying to convince himself that he was not in the wrong and was glamorizing the relationship a bit to make it seem like I should be more understanding. Then he started crying again and hugged me and said he wants to start over with my friend with all of us on the same page because he really does actually like being with her. He just wants to take it slow and dial back the seriousness a bit right now. I said that I would be open to this and that we could move forward from there with no secrets. I apologize for how reactive I was to it all at the moment. While I still may not fully agree with the relationship, I am more open to seeing it play out / being tolerant now that I know more details. It felt like the father that I knew had returned. I am meeting alone with my friend tonight. Hopefully there will not be another update since she will verify everything that he said and be on the same page as my dad and I with how we move forward. I will also say that I do not blame my dad for going out with someone my age. Yes, there is a weird dynamic to her being my age, but I think we are all kidding ourselves if we say that he cannot be excited as a man his age to get attention from a younger woman. I had to breathe on that for a second. Let's all ponder in that one. There are so many other older men, especially celebrities, that are all attracted to younger women that I will not entirely hold that against him. Thank you all for your help and insight. This may not have gone nearly as well as I would have liked if I had not been able to read some of your insights. I am feeling surprisingly hopeful about this situation going forward.